your stuff that you're showing?
No, they just asked what the snow look like. So I was just, it's very cold and I don't want to be outside.
Okay, so yeah, but share again. Let me see. Let me for those who just joined. Yeah. So as you can see, everywhere is white and freezing is like ice, but yeah, shaved ice. Is that what you call it? Shaved ice? Is that?
Guys,
Yeah,
but
it's cold.
if it's like freshly snow, just it'll powdery, like powdered sugar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But after some time, it'll like freeze and become solid.
Yep. And it gets what's it called? Well, hopefully next week they say it's gonna rain, so hopefully that helps.
Yeah,
Maybe wash it away because after a while you get tired of it.
and the wind is up now, so everything is blowing everywhere.
Hmm. You see, some houses the roof is still white.
Yeah.
Their roof, the snow have covered the roof also. So yeah, so that's what happened. But Maryland is well. Some states don't care, but Maryland, when it snows, most of the schools are closed. So what is it now? Can you maybe hold on. Yeah, whatchamacallit, what was I even saying? Yeah, when it snows here for Maryland people, majority of the time it's no school. They close schools because driving in it is very bad. Anybody want to share anything about snow in Maryland with our Ghana team? All the things that happens?
A lot of accidents happen when it's no, seriously, because my mommy was telling me the other day an accident happened like on her either on her way back from work, and it was just like a small piece of ice that was on the road that was frozen. So
Okay.
that's kind of why we don't drive. They don't drive to school, especially with some of the schools being in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
You have to go on like these like really thin roads and up and down when you're driving the bus, and it's a big car. So if it gets on this thing, it'll just flip over. So they mostly do it because of the safety of the students.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, because the road is really bad because it's like covered in snow. I'm gonna share a video for you guys to see some of the stuff that people, I guess, endure during the snow season. Let me include sound. Okay, let's play this one.
Introducing Verizon's new Business Unlimited 5G.
As residents nationwide dig out from the latest blast of winter, this morning, millions are bracing for even more dangerous weather. Roadways from coast to coast treacherous. This car in New York slamming into a snowplow while trying to pass a truck. And frightening moments in Rochester when an American Airlines plane skidded off a taxiway because of snowy conditions.
The aircraft is off the A2 and he is over the Hope Shore.
Emergency crews rushing to get 53 people safely off the aircraft. Parts of western New York blanketed by more than 5 feet of lake effect snow. burying local businesses and shuttering
Houses.
schools all week in Buffalo.
It's always the kids that have fun.
There's
but
so
the
much snow
grown-ups-
here, you can't even tell that's a car behind you.
No, you can't really tell that's a car.
Nearly 50 people have died over the last week as a result of the perilous weather, including 3 family members after a power line fell onto their car in icy Portland, Oregon. The only survivor, a 9-month-old baby. A witness rescuing the child.
I just grabbed the baby, I pulled him up, and I walked him up the hill.
16 people have died in Tennessee alone, which is now under a state of emergency, as sub-zero wind chills and more snow sets in across the country. But some moments of hope and daring rescues, including one by a 4-legged friend.
Call her!
In Michigan, after first responders were unable to reach a man who fell through the ice on a lake, his dog Ruby bringing over a rescue disc. The man eventually pulled to safety.
And looking at flight disruptions across the country, already this morning there are more than 600 flights canceled. That's almost as many as we saw in all of yesterday. And you may remember the Bills game was postponed last weekend. Officials are hoping this Sunday's playoff game will have a different fate. They're calling on locals to come help shovel the snow. Savannah, maybe that's my next stop.
Exactly. The Bills, what do they call it? The Bills Mafia. Get those shovels out. That'll be fun. Team building exercise. Al's got his eye on this storm. What do you see?
That's right. And building on what Emily just said, there is a ground stop right now at Washington Reagan Airport, and they're expecting a ground stop or at least delays at LaGuardia in the next hour or so. 77 million people here in the Northeast, the Midwest, under winter weather advisory, storm watches, storm warnings. You can see now that snow starting to fill in on the radar from Washington, Atlantic City, starting to get into New York City, also back through the Mississippi River Valley. So this storm quickly accelerates off the East Coast. It's going to be a disruptive snow.
Okay. So do we understand what is going, what are some of the things that happen when it snows? Let me stop sharing my screen and we can discuss.
There are car accidents.
Yes. Planes are delayed, flights are delayed, right? Team Ghana, some of the things that they talked about that the snow has caused. France, anyone in Nigeria? They share some things. There are some happy. Okay, Nigeria, you can talk now.
As a cause accident.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because the car tires that we use, they are made for regular season, right? And so most of the time, because it's very slippery on the road, anything can happen. And so that's why they close schools so that there is no liability when it comes to accidents and children getting hurt and all those stuff. So that's why. And then what are some of the things that happened? Something happened with the flight, the airplane. What happened to that one too?
Aircraft hit a taxi.
It skipped. Yeah, it skipped because the runway was very slippery. So it skipped. So most of the time when it snows, flights are also delayed, right? So if you are going somewhere and it snows, that means you might end up your flight being canceled or being delayed, right? And what else can I even say? You see how the the meteorologist, right? The guy that was talking about the weather, you see how he was sharing all those things. And their job is very, very important. Yeah. It helps you to know the atmosphere, the weather, and what is going on. And so if you don't check stuff, and Esther, if you don't check stuff and then you find yourself stranded, it's gonna be your fault, right? Of course, sometimes they will predict and they might not come through. But you always have to be cautious when it comes to the weather, especially around this time of the year. So when it's snow season or when it's winter, Team USA, Naima, Amira, when it's snow season around this time? When?
Usually in like December to maybe February.
Yes, and sometimes if you are not lucky, March. March can give you some crazy surprises when it comes to snow. We've had some crazy March snow in the past. But last year, Maryland was a little bit lucky. We didn't have snow last year, right? Did we? Yeah. Last year we were lucky. We didn't have snow. So this is a little bit of a surprise to all of us. We thought we were going to have no snow this year. But yes, this is our second snow already. So yeah, Monday was Martin Luther King's Jr. birthday, so there was no school. And then yeah, there was no school. And then Tuesday it snowed. So they had some schools had half day. No, school was off on Tuesday, right? School was closed on Tuesday. And then Wednesday they had a 2-hour delay to start class. Thursday they had a full school, and then Friday. Julie, we can't hear you.
And then Friday was no school, so we only had 2.5 days of school.
Yes. So people have been enjoying. They have been, yeah. If they had a homework, they don't have to do it and all those stuff. Yeah. But the difference between now and when I was in school, they are lucky. They get a phone call, they get email. They get a phone call, they get email. We had to get up and watch the news. Yes, so you could not sleep. You had to wake up, watch the news, and make sure you read. And back then, you see they will put the school names at the bottom of the district. So if there's like 50 districts in Maryland, right? You are watching and watching and watching and waiting for your school to pop up. So you have to wake up, let's say sometimes 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, early to just watch whether schools are closed or open. Okay, Julie, over to you.
Sometimes they warn us ahead of time. And then sometimes we wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and we get ready. And on our way out, we're like, it's really cold outside. It might snow. And then we check the weather and we're like, oh, we should probably not be going to school today. And then sometimes they'll call you a mother literally 5 minutes before you get out of the house. And then sometimes they'll call your mother and your mother will forget to tell you. And then you'll wake up, you'll go all the way to the bus stop, you'll stand in the freezing cold, and then she'll tell you, oh, you don't have school.
See, that is different. Honestly, I'm telling you, at least the mistake is not from the school, it's from communication that somebody received that they did not release. Back then, you have to watch the news or listen on the radio, and they'll tell you Carroll County schools are closed, Montgomery County schools are closed, PG County 2-hour delay. So we have to, and it wasn't like, oh, the TV one was like an announcement at the bottom part. So it's just scrolling little by little, and you are just waiting for your county. And when you see your county, and there's like, oh my God, we have 2-hour delay, or we are closed, or maybe school is still open and something like that. So that is what happens most of the time here. Any questions for us? Okay, so there's no question. So we are hoping that Monday snow, the road will be a little bit better, so that there will not be any delay. We will go full class, or have a full I was replying to a parent. No, go. I need my phone. Thank you. Yeah, so with that being said, we have a special guest coming today. But before anything, I want to know what is some of the stuff that we talked about last week, because that will flow to whoever is coming today.
Mental health. We talked about mental health and how schooling and how going to school and how dealing with a lot of stuff in our life and in school together can affect us mentally.
Julie, can you repeat again? Sorry.
I said we talked a lot about mental health and how school, in addition to things that we deal with at home and our life, can cause us stress and affect our mental health in general.
Yes. So we talked, and so Tim, Ghana, did you guys hear what Julie said about what we discussed last week? I see Martin. Why your face like that? There's one sitting next to Martin. I'm looking at you. Why your face like that? Why your face like that? Clifford. May show. Yeah. What did we discuss?
I don't understand.
Yeah, babe. Hi, Ethan. Ariane, where's Ariane? Julie, can you check on Ariane for me, please? Yeah, so we've talked about snow stuff, right? And what snow happens, what happens during the snow season and stuff. And then we talking about what we talked about last week, right? And Julie said last week we talked about mental health. Even before the mental health, we talked about something else before the mental health. But this is what Julie remembers. That last week we talked about mental health and how mental health affect our everyday life, including school, right? So that's what Julie was talking about. So anybody else want to add anything?
Didn't we also talk about holidays as well?
Yes, we did talk about holidays in around the world, right? And thank you, Amira. What were some of the holidays that we shared last week? Some of the names of the holidays.
Hanukkah, Christmas.
Okay, let somebody else say the rest.
It was Kwanzaa, Boxing
Right.
Day.
Okay. So yeah, so Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, what else? There was one that we introduced you guys to that was special to people in Europe.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day.
Yes. So we all concluded that during the December month, right? There are different types of celebrations that goes on, whether it be religious or non-religious, right? And we can all agree that when we are looking forward to the new year, everybody is celebrating to see the new year, right? And so it doesn't matter whether you are a Christian, atheist, Buddhist, whatever it is. Everybody is looking forward to what? The new year. And so regardless of where you are around the world, whether you are in Ejura, Frante, Baltimore, Carroll County, Westminster, Taneytown, Owings Mills, it doesn't matter where you are. Around like December 31st to January 1st, everybody is looking forward to what? The new year. Can we all agree to that?
Yep.
Okay. And
Can I say something real quick?
Okay.
Auckland, New Zealand is the first major city to experience the New Year.
Yes, it's true. Some countries ring in the new year before some people, right? So some countries ring in the new year before others, right? Why is that? Anybody want to tell us why some countries enter the new year before others?
Because
Ariane,
Time
Naima,
zones.
there's a
Naima.
difference in each part of each hemisphere, I think.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Julie.
Time zones. Like Ghana celebrates their New Year before we do, because they're like 5 hours ahead of us right now.
Yep. So the time zone, the hemisphere.
Okay, Jerry. I'm gone.
Okay, let's mute Uncle Tony. Okay, so all those things play a role in why some people get to celebrate the new year before others, right? But above all, we can say that it's a universal celebration around the world. Can we agree to that? Yes. Anyone from Majura have something to say? If you do, unmute yourself and then we will.
Hello.
Hello.
Auntie, please, my name is Joshua.
Hi, Joshua.
It's because of the rotation of the earth.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Hello.
So this year we will be doing more on the energy, the sun, all those stuff. So we will talk about the whole, I know some of you have done it, but we will try to simplify it for those who are wondering what the heck did Joshua said, right? And so the reason, of course, we have already established is that some people time zone, Ghana enter the new year before Team USA Maryland enter their new year. And even here in US, there are some people that the Marylanders or the Eastern time zone people, we enter the new year before some. Okay. So even in the US, not everybody enters the new year at the same time. Are we good on that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So any comment or question on what we talked about last week?
Any from Boxing Day.
Yes,
and
what was
the
special about Boxing Day?
Kwanzaa.
Yeah, somebody have listed all those things already. So my question is, what was special about Boxing Day from what we learned last week?
Is the sharing of gifts.
British.
Yes. Okay, Ariane, adios.
British.
What did he say?
Okay. Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you.
I think he said British and Canadian.
Oh,
No, I said British. Just British.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
British.
Okay.
Just Dance.
Stop.
Okay, so we learned that with Boxing Day here in the US and some parts of the world, our only holiday for not the day off, right, is the 25th of December, right? But then in Canada and England and also Australia, they get the 25th and then the 26th off. Is that correct?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so, And that is the time that they actually do their own gifting. So the whole reason for the whole boxing is like they are unboxing their gifts. So they call it Boxing Day. The word box is like exchanging of gifts, box, right? So that's why. Okay, so we learn about that. What about Kwanzaa? What did we learn about Kwanzaa? Anybody? What did we learn about Kwanzaa?
Kwanzaa is like the celebration for the Jewish.
Kwanzaa. Okay, Julie.
Kwanzaa is like the African American Christmas.
Yes.
Similar to Jewish Hanukkah, but
Yes.
not the same.
Yes. What are some of the significance of the whole Kwanzaa? Where did it originate from?
It originated in America.
Awesome.
And it goes from the 26th to New Year's, if I'm not mistaken. And most of the significance is from family. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, and they have what? Candles, just like Hanukkah, right? They have candles that they light up every day, and every day has a special message. Some of the messages are, one of them is Umoja, unity. Others are about family, community, togetherness, all those stuff, right? So every day has a special message that they share with their family about what it means to be part of a family, a community, or a neighborhood, right? Or a tribe of people. And so that is what Kwanzaa is about. Now we want to move to Hanukkah. What did we learn about Hanukkah? Anybody? Ghana, what did we learn about Hanukkah last week? Anyone want to help?
Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that takes around that is around the same time as Christmas. And it originates from a story about two different miracles, one about many fighting a few and the few winning, and the Jewish running into a temple that had oil which lasted 9 days when it should have lasted 1 day. And to celebrate, they have a Chanukah, which holds a certain amount of candles, 9, and they light one each every day for Hanukkah. And they also have dreidels and pierogies, which pierogies are amazing.
Okay, and they said what I learned is that they use one candle for everyone. So if candle one, let's say day one candle will have to light up day two candle, right? And then it continue from there. And that is really nice because that one candle was able to hold up for what, 9 days? That is a miracle on its own. So that's why they celebrate that. Okay, good. So now back to mental health. So we talked about all these stuff about the holidays and being home and waiting for the new year. And also the new year is here and how you are planning your, if it's like with people say, we have new year resolution, the new year, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, so that Santa will visit me by December. Anyway, so we all have things that we want to do. And some people said they had some new year plans, right? For the school year. Naima, what did you say your new year goals were? I remember, but I want you to share yourself.
My new year goal was to get into algebra in 7th grade.
Yes. Naima said Okay. Naima said that what she wants to improve her algebra this year. And then I remember Ariane saying something very funny. Ariane, what did you say? Things that you want to improve the new year.
I want to commit less forgery this new year.
Okay. So Ariane said he wants to be good. So we're gonna hold him accountable this year, right? That this year he said he wants to be a good boy. He wants to be so Julie and I and Ethan, what is your New Year resolution? What are the things that you plan to do or improve on yourself this year, Ethan?
Maybe exercising every day.
Okay, somebody said exercising. So anyone from Team Ghana, Ghana Frante, what are some of the things that you want to improve this year? Ejira, if you are ready, you can go, okay? Anyone in Ejira, what are the things that you want to improve this year?
My academic studies.
Academic study, is that Fatima or who? Okay. So she said her academic studies. What does it, what is academic studies? What do you mean by that? Okay. Okay, so Janet, welcome. We did a brief on what we talked about last week. Last week we shared the different holidays around the world, and in December to January, and then we talked about the new year and the things that people are hoping to experience, change, improve for the new year. Someone said she wants to improve. She wants to improve on her algebra skills. She want to be better with algebra. Someone said they want to be great at being good, being nice. Someone also said they want to improve on they want to exercise more. And so Janet.
Please, madam, I want to improve my academic studies.
Okay, so she also said she want to improve her academic studies. So Janet, what is your New Year goal or some of the things that you hope to accomplish with the New Year 2024? Miss Rena is on, so we are about to release and let her do her thing. Janet?
Probably, yeah, for better grades, and then also to join, like, do something new, like probably join a new club at school, something like that.
Nice. So that is nice. So all of us are more focused on our school, which is great, right? Which is awesome. And for me, like I think my goal this year is to still work hard to improve EBI, right? Because that's what if you ask me, that is that is my goal for the year, to like work more and work smart in getting things done for me for this year for EBI. So with that being said, I know some of you shared some of your what is it called, experience as a student, right? And mental health and all those stuff. Julie, what was your New Year resolution or your plans for the year?
I want to be able to at the very least pass all my classes with no less than a B-.
Okay.
And then bring up my GPA so that I'll be able to get into an AP class that would also bring up my GPA and help me get into a better college.
Okay. Thank you. So Julie is focusing on college and her GPA. So so we have how do I say this? She's a first lady, she's a pastor, right? And she's also a mental health advocate professional. She is based in I might be wrong, South Carolina, right? But and as you can see, the name of her church and business is the Eagle City. I've been there before and I've been blessed by her and the husband. And so today it's a privilege, if you ask me, that we have her here. And I want to add this before she even steps in. You know that I will be honest, being African and being a Christian, sometimes it's like, oh, when something is wrong, don't worry about mental health, this, right? So it's nice. I would say that someone that is a very prayerful person also advocating and teaching people about how to deal with our mental health, okay? So I'm going to release the podium or the mic to Miss or Pastor Rena. Okay, over to you. Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Team Ghana. If you are not talking, mute yourself, okay? But don't make her be the only one talking. Respond back when she asks questions.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So my name is Rena. I know you normally have Hadassah on here, but you don't see her on her. That's my daughter. I am currently in South Carolina. I am not home, so I'm restricted a little bit. I'm limited with what I can and cannot do. But a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Ghana. I've been in the States for a little bit over 2 decades. I came when I was 14. I guess I just gave out my age. Mental health is actually what I do in the schools. I'm considered a mental health counselor. That is what I went to school for. So I work in the elementary and middle schools. And so I guess I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about what I do in the schools. Bear with me. I don't use Zoom. I know my way around technology, but I don't use it that much because in my own way, I'm anti-technology. I prefer face-to-face. So I'm still trying to figure my way out this whole thing. So where do I go to share my screen?
At the bottom part, you see share screen.
Can't see. Ah, there it is. Okay. Whoa. That's not what I want to share. So I am going to download this thing because I have posted some stuff in your Google Classroom, but something that you're going to do later. I am going to download this to the computer and try to give it to you from a PowerPoint perspective. So hopefully that would work and do what I needed to do. Don't want that. I want this one. God, I hate this computer. Auntie Letitia, you're gonna have to walk me through this. I normally work from a 2-screen thing. You're working with one is not my forte.
Okay. So when you shared
Oh,
your
here you go.
screen, okay. Okay.
All right. So what is mental health? We're going to first explore some myths about mental health, look at the definition of what mental health is, and look at some examples and people that have it and how they're functioning with it. I know you talked about this briefly last year, and I saw the PowerPoint this morning. What I have done with this particular PowerPoint is gone a little bit more in depth because I think you see some of these things in school and you are aware of them, but you don't maybe understand it. If at any point I'm going too fast, or if I say something that you don't understand, please stop me, pause me, and I will do my best to explain the best way that I can. I don't have access to the chart thing, or I'm not paying attention to it. But whomever is watching the chart, I'm going to be asking you for some questions. So as you see them populate, if you don't mind sharing that with me, I would greatly appreciate it. So the first thing I want to know, if you can put them in the chart, or if you want to unmute yourself and answer. Oh, okay, go back. What do you need to do to keep your body healthy in general? If somebody says you need to be healthy, what are some things that you need to do?
Eat some balanced meals and drink a lot of water.
Okay.
Exercise.
Is Michael talking? I can't hear.
That was Ariane. Ariane said exercise.
Exercise.
Naima typed sleep.
All right, so I heard eat well, a balanced meal, and exercise, and drinking water. What would we consider a balanced meal? Does that mean eating like 20 Takis, a balanced meal, drinking sodas? What is the definition of a balanced meal?
I don't know the exact definition, but I know we need at least
20 orange slices.
some I know we need at least some protein, fruits. On some level we need some carbs and starch and all that stuff, but in moderation.
Great. I like that word that you use, in moderation.
Yeah. If you eat too much of anything, it will be bad for you. So you have to eat in moderation.
So I guess we all agree about the moderation component. I see there's the numbers in the chart went up. So you want to share what's in there? No?
Sorry, I've muted him.
All right, so I see vegetables, grain, protein. So I want you to keep that in mind when it comes to the things that you need to do to take care of your body itself, because it also ties it into mental health. So real quick, let's see if I can touch on the myths. So the first thing is, please put in the chart whether it's true or false. Mental health issues can't affect me. If you think it's true, type in true. If you think it's false, type in false. If you don't want to type, just go ahead, unmute yourself, and you can answer.
Ariane, behave over there.
Autocorrect, sorry.
All true?
Everybody said false.
Everybody says false. Okay, so 1 in 5 American adults experience mental health issues in a given year. 1 in 6 young people have experienced a major depressive episode. And then 1 in 20 Americans live with a serious mental health, such as schizophrenia, bipolar, or major depression. So mental health does not discriminate by age, okay? Additionally, suicide right now has been added to the disorders, and it is the leading cause of death right now in young people. And that's actually from the ages of 10 to 24. Because I'm in the middle school and also the elementary school, I'm actually seeing this number. And so I do believe and agree that suicide is a big issue right now in our young population. So the second question, children don't experience mental health. True or false? I guess I kind of led into that. Whatever your definition of children is, do you think children do not experience mental health?
In Ghana,
even in Ghana.
Yeah, don't for okay, Jura said false. Okay. Frantic, Michael, what is your take on this? Children, let's say, yeah, don't experience mental health. Is it true or false? Well, everybody said false.
All right, every young child may show early warning signs of mental health concerns. These mental health conditions are often clinically diagnosed and can be a productive of your biological chemistry, what makes up your biology, your psychological, your brain, and the way you interact with people. So that answer is actually false. So those of you that said false, children do experience mental health. Half of all mental health disorders show first signs before a person turns 14. So which means that from the time they're born, the signs are there if you know what to look for. If you know what to look for, you can kind of begin to tackle it so it doesn't become problematic in the future. So, but in schools, they start seeing these things majorly when they're age of 14, because sometimes it can go under the radar. All right, so what is mental health? If you have a phone, actually, I can't open Mentimeter right now. So if you can actually put in the chart, what do you think what your definition of mental health is before I go in? What is mental health to you? When you hear of mental health, what do you think of?
Like
Are you thinking of
for your brain?
Okay, to your brain. Are you thinking of somebody walking down the street not wearing clothes? Are you thinking of somebody in the mental institution and they're wrapped, they can't move, they're on medication? Are you thinking of somebody that's handicapped? What do you think of when you hear mental health? Ms. Letitia, what is coming through the chart?
Nothing. Nobody have typed anything. So if anyone, Julie has her hands raised. Julie, over to you.
Up until like a couple of years ago, I would have thought of people in an asylum, or someone who can't function completely. But seeing as recently I have, especially in health class, gone through mental health stuff and what goes on with young people and old people and people of all age gaps, first thing that comes to my mind would be depression, anxiety. Someone can be just sitting down there looking out into the world and having a mental break. So first thing I think of is just like a human being.
Okay, I like that. I hear I'm going too fast, so I'm going to try to slow it down. So for those of you in Ghana, if at any given point, do I need to go back and review something, first of all?
No, continue. That's why we have the YouTube video, so continue, sorry.
Okay. All right, so mental health, you hear mental health, you hear mental problems, you hear mental illness. They all kind of fall under the same thing, except for me, I don't really like to think of illness, because when you hear illness, you turn to put people in a specific category, and it's almost like it's a taboo and you don't want to be associated with them. But what dictionary would tell you is that mental health is your capacity to think, feel, and act in a way that would enhance how you interact in life. The problems are the things that is impacting your brain, your emotions, and how you interact with people, your behaviors. Then the illness is what science or medicine will diagnose you with. So it'd be like the label that it kind of like attached to you. So that would be the definition with those three. But mental health in itself, to break it down for kids, is the way that you feel about yourself and the world around you. It affects how you interact with people and the challenges that you face. Miss Letitia, is that slow enough?
Perfect.
All right. So mental health conditions affect how you think. If you can see in that picture, they're laying down, but they're thinking about chickens crossing the road, money on fire, the car, traffic, cat food, clock. Are they going to have children, not have children? How they feeling? If I ask you to tell me what do you think this person in the middle is feeling, what would you say they're feeling? No one?
The picture
Take a guess.
Found out Santa Claus wasn't real.
I didn't hear that.
They found out Santa Claus isn't real.
Okay. Okay.
So silly.
The
And
person is sad about something.
Okay, someone is feeling bad about something. Let me ask you this. How can you tell they're feeling bad about something? What is a sign that told you they're feeling bad about something?
They're crying.
Got no Christmas spirit.
They're crying. So that is what we would call a social cue. Majority of the time, we're not paying attention to our social cues, but that is very good. The fact that there are tears on her face is telling you that there is something wrong. And then in the third picture, the behavior, what do we think is happening?
The person is really mad.
How do we know they're mad?
Because it looks like something is broken and it looks like she's screaming.
So those are things that you're picking up on and you were interpreting. Great.
Yeah. It looks like a cat pushed the thing off the table.
Great. I love that somebody thinks the cat pushed it over and somebody also thinks that the person broke it themselves. So you see right there are different interpretations. The best way to get the actual fact of the matter would be to either be there when the thing happened or to ask the person like, hey, what is going on? Does that make sense? There are three components of mental health: your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Okay? And what that simply means is what you tell yourself, what you hear people say to you, those are the things in your brain. So the thought component. Behaviors, the way you interact with people, the way you interact with yourself, and your emotions. There are hundreds of thousands of emotions. As you can see the triangle, there's an arrow on each way. So this is always moving. Each one can trigger the other one. So I'll give you an example. I wanted, let me see, what did I do growing up? Growing up, I would go to, I would get bad grade on my report card. Off the bat, in my head, I'm going, oh my God, my mom is going to kill me. So now I'm feeling bad about myself. And what did I do? I stayed out late. I didn't go home because she's going to beat me anyway. So I might as well just get it all out. By the time I get there, I just take the punishment. And to be honest with you, by the time I got home, the punishment was worse because one, she's punishing me for the grades. And two, she's punishing me for the fact that I stayed out and didn't come in. Now I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I am the worst child ever. Why can't I do anything right? So then it keeps going again. The cycle keeps going and it doesn't stop. The only way that this will stop, it's a matter of what you say to yourself, and the feelings that you have about yourself would impact what you do. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions about this?
Can somebody explain what Ms. Rena just said on this?
She said that that she got a bad grade on her report card, so she started thinking bad stuff about herself, and so she decided to just stay out instead of going home and dealing with the punishment. But when she got back, she got like a worse punishment, and so she thought like really bad thoughts about herself.
So if I'm having bad thoughts about myself, what's that going to do about my emotions?
It'll make you probably upset.
So if I get upset, what am I going to end up doing?
Like not like leave your room.
Okay, so if I don't leave my room, I stay in my room, what am I going to start thinking again?
How you're like how you failed.
Okay, and that will go back to another emotion. So what will be another emotion that you would have if you failed something?
Frustrated.
Okay, so you see how it just keeps going and it doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We call this cognitive triangle. It's actually something that we use as a evidence-based to help kids modify their behavior in school. So if we can help you stop one of these three and actually use facts, it kind of changes the whole process where you don't go into this domino effect of negative thinking. And then the cycle doesn't stop. So the big thing with mental health is it does not care your age, your gender, what culture, your religion, or if you have money or don't have money. It does not care what part in the world you live in. It does not care what circumstances you were born into. So long as everyone has thoughts and they have feelings and they have actions, if you're not putting the right information in, something is going to trigger something, and before you find yourself in a place that you don't want to be in. So a person's status in life does not matter. If they don't take care of these three areas, there are going to be some challenges in life. All right. Based on what I've said, what part of your body do you think is most important to maintaining a good mental health?
Positive mindset.
Positive mindset. Okay. A body part. Give me a body part.
Brain.
Brain. Thank you very much.
Your
So, brain and computer. Since you are doing STEAM, I'm trying to see if I can connect this to computers. Where do you store your I'm gonna use a phone. Everybody has a phone, right? Or knows how to use some type of electronic. I can't see anyone, so I have no idea what you're doing, whether you're bobbing your head or putting thumbs up. You know what? If I ask a question like that, just give me a thumbs up. I can see that on the screen. That will help me better. When you take pictures with your phone, if you have an Android or even an Apple, and you take pictures with your phone, when the memory is full, are you able to add any more pictures to it? You can give me a thumbs down if you are not able to, or thumbs up if you know another way of adding pictures. I can't see, so I'm assuming you are putting thumbs ups and downs.
No, you can't do that. You can't add more pictures.
Okay, so if you have an Android device, you have to get a bigger memory to put in to add more data, or you have to go into your system and delete some things before you can add more data. If you have an Apple, you have to buy a bigger memory space before you can add any data, or once again, you have to go in and delete some stuff. It's the same thing with mental health. Your 5 senses, your sight, your nose, your sense of smell, your taste, your hearing, and your feel is picking in information and it's storing them. I'll give you an example. I want to give an example that would relate to kids also in Ghana. Let's see. My mom does not like the beach. To her, I should not go to the beach because she's scared of it. So if she hears I'm anywhere near the water, she freaks out and she panics. But it is something that happened to her when she was younger. And when she took that, whatever happened to her when she was younger, she created a storage in her memory that said that we don't go to the beach. So because of that, she has associated beach with negative things. So she doesn't want any of her kids to go anywhere near the water or have anything to do with anything of that. So each time we bring anything having to do with that up, she does not want to hear the conversation and she gets upset with us. However, I have a different opinion about the beach. But if I take her views of the beach because she is the adult person in my life and make it as mine, I'm going to associate negative things about the beach. And before I know it, I've created something else about the beach that may or may not be true for me. And then I start acting a certain way. So it goes back to the thoughts again and the feelings and then the behaviors. The beach, something happened at the beach. So I'm afraid of the beach. Because I'm afraid of the beach, the action I'm going to do is not go to the beach. So see, I take this information and I put it up here and I store this information up here and I'm moving with it. It's going to decide what I do, where I go, how I interact with people, and then it just keeps going. What I smell is stores up here. It's the reason why you can go to some places, you will smell something and you go, you know that smell. You will eat something and you go, oh, no, I remember this. It brings you certain memories. You hear something and you can connect it to different things. All this stuff is being stored in your brain. If you're not storing it appropriately, it interferes with how you do everything else. So in computer, they'll tell you encoding, storage, and retrieval. In mental health is the same thing. The encoding is the information that you're taking in and how you're processing it. The storing component is what you leave in there, and then the retrieval process. So I'll give you a great example. Growing up, there was a snake in front of the house. And when I saw the snake, I was about maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. When I saw the snake, I panicked because I've never seen a snake like that before. I went and got my grandma. She came, I pointed the snake out to her. I went back home inside the house and I slept. They never told me how to deal with snakes. So off the back, storage-wise, I process that each time I see snake, I run. So from that time on till now, when I see snake, automatically my retrieval process says run. So when I see snake, I run. But now I know that snakes actually, before you see them, they've already seen you. By the time you see them, because they want you to see them. But if they're going to do something to you, they would have done it before you see them. Also, they send you signals. Like I did not know that a rattlesnake shaking its tail is a way of warning you that you're coming too close. So the more knowledge you have about something, the easier it is for you to interact with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Do I
snakes
need to
are
go back? Go ahead.
snakes, much like other predators, will only really attack if they sense you as a danger. It's not to eat you or to do other stuff. It's just to protect themselves. So the best course of action is usually to back away.
So see, I didn't know that. All I saw was snake. So I went into a storage mode, and the information I put in my storage did not help me. So each time I would retrieve that information, it did more harm to me. And I'll touch more on this when I talk about anxiety. Okay, so here's a game. Ms. Letitia, I need help with this simply because I can't see the chat screen. I'm going to pause it. They're going to guess the emotion that's coming up. I'm only going to do this for 10 of them because there's 30, and I don't think we have time for all 30. So you're going to guess the emotion that is going to play. If you get it right, great. If you don't, it's just an activity, okay? So what is this emotion? You have 10 seconds. Did anyone get it right?
Some people are saying fear, fear, failure, fear, fear.
All right, you all got it right. That was pretty smart. All right, so then your second one is, what is this one? What is this emotion?
Someone said tensed. Someone said tensed, sad, tense, sad. Okay.
All right, those of you that sentence, kudos. What is this one?
Bold, 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 bold. Okay.
Anybody this one?
Bored, content, bored, content.
Yeah, I just saw the content.
Wow, bon say. Someone say unique.
Awesome.
Unique.
All right, we got about 3 more.
Certain.
Curtain.
Ethan, let people rest. Let people breathe.
Hey, I'm doing it before Ethan. We both need to let them read.
Tired. That's what people are saying.
Yeah.
Oh, Ariane and Ethan. Tender.
Are you Googling it?
Wow. They probably, these people.
Last one.
This one is painful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. That one was thorough.
Let's go. I got that last one. I got that last one. No one
I
else
really
did.
got it. I think we should do number 11 because it's getting harder.
I think we should do the whole heavy.
No. Someone says sea boats.
So that was just a little activity I wanted to bring in to touch on emotions. If I have a kid in front of me, depending on their age, they have to name that many emotions. Sometimes kids get caught up on happy, sad, mad. They don't even say angry. They get caught up on mad, and then they don't interact with any other emotions. But so much more emotions out there that if we can give them the vocabulary for it, it makes it easier for them to express what's going on with them. And when they're able to do that, they're able to take care of their thoughts, their emotions, and their means of expression, which I will touch on when I do communication, fear, and depression at another time. So you can understand how all those tie into mental health. So some common mental health include anxiety disorder, bipolar, depressive, eating disorder, obsessive compulsive disorders, and sleep-wake disorders. These are just some common ones. There are a whole lot more, and each year it seems like more comes up. There's a diagnostic tool that we use for diagnosis. And it seems like each year right now, when COVID came in, it made things worse when the isolation stuff came in for those 2 years. So more things are coming up now, and each year they add more things to the book. I would touch on anxiety. I would touch on depression, but mainly what I want to touch on with this group has to do with this age group and what I see in the schools right now. Some common mental health in children. You have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. You have anxiety. You have mood disorders. These two really should be tied together. Then you have autism spectrum disorder and eating disorder. I'm pretty sure that some of you are aware of your friends or your associates in school who have some of these things, because kids are very expressive about what is going on with them. You have some kids on IEPs and 504s in the school districts or in the schools, and some of them are on these spectrums, and they have special accommodations that have been put in place to help them. If they're on IEP, you know it's a federal thing, and so the school cannot break those IEP accommodations that have been put in place for the school. If the school goes against what is in there, the school can face a really, really big issue with the federal program because it backs an IEP. That's an individualized education plan. Okay, the first thing I want to touch.
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you know what an HD is?
Yes.
Because my doctor said I had like 80 of them or something.
You have 80 of them? You have what now? You have how many of them?
Do you know what an HD is?
HD?
Yes. Because my doctor said I had like 80 of them or something.
I have to go back and it could be something else than what I'm thinking. So can I talk to you outside of this?
No, it was just a joke because HD and then 80.
I see what you did there, high definition.
Like if you have
Is that high definition you were going with?
No, if I had like HD and I said my doctor had 80 of them, then I would have 80 HD.
My brain is not on that joke thing right now, but I appreciate you putting that in there. I appreciate it. When we talk about mental health disorders in children, it has to do a lot with their behaviors. and their emotions. So the first thing that you see is oppositional defiance disorder, or ODD, conduct disorder. Then there's ADHD, which is the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay, with ODD, it means that the child's behavior is constant disobedience and hostility. Majority of the time, you have that kid who is, they would say they're defiant with authority. So like they don't respect anyone. It doesn't matter what position you hold, what you're doing for them, what you're not doing for them, they don't care. And they're very, I hate to use the word defiant, but that is the word they use to describe them. So if you see a doctor write anything, it says defiant, a teacher write anything, it says defiant, that they just don't respect anything. So when they are looking at this diagnosis, is the constant disobedience and hostility towards people. Majority of the time, what is happening with these kids, something happened in their background, in their family, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so the way that they are interacting with people is the best way that they know how. So it's not that they're choosing to be defiant on purpose. Like I have a kid right now in the 9th grade who mom and dad split. And so mom is always bashing him. Mom is always talking mean to him. Mom is always saying, you're this like your dad, you this like your dad, you this like your dad. And she talks to him like she's talking to her friend, throwing curse words at him. But then when the child curses her back, she gets upset. So the same model that he has at home, that is being the example that mom is showing him at home, he's going to bring that same example to school. So if mom is cussing at him, to him, it's okay to cuss at other adults, but not every adult you can cuss at. So he's in school and he is showing the same behavior, and the teachers are not putting up with it. So he's always in BIR, which would be detention, or he is suspended from school for whatever reason because he talked back to a teacher, or he didn't want to listen and he walked out. But they're not taking into effect that something else at home is going on. And so when he goes back home, he goes through the same thing again. And when you're talking to mom does not see anything wrong. So clearly nothing is going to be fixed until she can change some of the things at home. So this is the stuff that's going on, some of it anyway, with the kids who are on the ODD spectrum. Some of the signs that you see, they lose their temper very easily. They're arguing with adults. They're actively defiant. They're annoying. They're blaming everybody else for what is going on with them. They're easily annoyed. Anger is just like that. They're very spiteful and also vindictive. So I'm pretty sure we can all name somebody on that. Conduct. It's a problem we see a lot in adolescents, which if you think of it, because hormones are coming in, there's a change and stuff happening. So some things are going to be a conflict within them. But when you're dealing with teachers and parents, sometimes we forget that we were also at that age. And so when hormones come in, there's a shift in how kids interact. But majority of the time with conduct, it goes with the law because they have a lot of aggression and they're law breaking. So you have those kids in school who are bringing in drugs, who are vaping when they know they shouldn't be vaping, who are doing things they shouldn't be doing, shoplifting. I have a few of those. When I say I have a few of those, I don't mean I did shoplifting. I'm saying I know kids who've been shoplifting. Vandalism, setting fires, breaking things in the school on purpose. So these kids who are on the spectrum, majority of the time, if they're not listening and following their treatment plan, what ends up happening is they end up in DJJ, which is juvenile detention for kids, or they put them in a residential home because it's structured, or some parents would just take them and put them in military school. They have military school for kids, hoping that that will give them some type of structure. For these kids, they're intimidating, bullies, physical harming to themselves, to other people, and to people's property. They're using weapons. I don't know if you're paying attention in the news, especially in the middle and high schools right now. There's a lot going on with kids bringing weapons to school, having weapons around the school campus. Anytime you have anything on the school campus that could be considered school property, it puts you in danger. You have law enforcement constantly going in and out. Children are being threatened by other peers, like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna do this to you, or you're dead. Stuff like that, it becomes a problem. They're bringing bats, knives, and the kids who've been expelled from middle school and they have to go to, oh Jesus, what's the word? Alternative school. They have to go to alternative school. They're lying all the time, breaking and entering, stealing, forgery, you name it. They're skipping school, they're doing drugs, sexual behavior at a young age. These are things that some of these kids are engaging in when they're on the conduct spectrum. Then ADHD is a big one that we're seeing right now. And it seems like every kid is being diagnosed with ADHD in elementary school. What was that? Did somebody say something? No?
Someone asked a question that, so please, if my younger sister blames people always, it can be a sign. That was the question in the comments.
Well, if your younger sister blames people always, she needs to be taught the skill of why it's important not to blame people before it becomes something else. So like how when I showed you in the beginning that your thoughts would lead to your emotion, it would influence your emotion, and your emotion would influence your action. So why is she blaming people all the time? What would be, is it because she's afraid that if she says that she did something, she's going to get in trouble for it? Is the fear of the punishment the reason why she's blaming somebody else? So there are multiple ways you can go about this. Maybe you need to teach her, for instance, my household, the rule is don't lie. I don't care if you kill, well, I do care. Even if you kill someone, tell me you killed someone. I will help you with that. Versus if I have to go investigate to find out what you did, at that point, you're going to get in a whole lot more trouble than if you had just told me, Mommy, I took this. I would respect you a whole lot more for it. So if your household is a household where if the child tells the truth and they're going to be punished and the punishment does not fit the crime, the child is going to weigh it out and decide, well, if this is not making sense and I don't really want this, and I'm going to go ahead and just do this. So it's a matter of the precedence that was set in this household would determine which way the child is going to go. So just because she's blaming people a lot doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to fall in this conduct, but at the same time, she's going to need some basic tools to better understand why it's important for her not to do this. So one, she's not isolating herself from friends, because eventually, I'm going to be very honest with you, if I have a friend that's always going to blame me for things that I'm not doing, I don't want them around me. So one, I'm isolating myself. Two, I can't trust you. Anything that comes out of your mouth is going to be a lie. You don't want this for yourself, and I don't want you to be the child that's always crying wolf when there isn't a wolf. So it's important for you to fix this now before it becomes something else down the road. Does that make sense for the person that asked that question?
Wait, so you mean that
is this another joke?
No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke this time.
That's Ariane for you.
Now I forgot
was
the
the-
question. God dang it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you want me to wait for you to catch on to it, or do you want me to touch on ADHD and hope that it catches you before?
No.
No, as in don't wait for you, or no,
You
as
don't
in
have to
don't
wait
go.
for me.
Oh, what was your
Don't wait for
question?
me.
We didn't hear his question.
Yeah,
said-
He
because I
said he
forgot.
forgot the question.
You can go on. Yeah.
Okay. So with ADHD, there are 3 types of ADHD. There's the inattentive ADHD, which the focus is gone. They're disorganized. They're easily distracted. They have trouble following the directions, and they forget a lot. You have the hyper impulsive ADHD. This child is like constantly on the move, going, and they just have to keep going. Fidgeting a lot. Attention is a problem in the class. The combined type, that one has the inattentive component and also the hyper impulsive thing. If you have that person in class that's always taking things they don't need to be taking, that child in class that the teacher is always saying, sit down, stop taking this. The one that the teacher would say, did you take your medicine today? The one the teacher is saying, you need to go see the nurse, or like they're constantly sending notes home to the parent. It's not that there is something wrong with them with the excessive talking per se. It's just that their brain is wired differently. So for instance, Michael Phelps, if you don't know who Michael Phelps is, he's an Olympic swimmer. And he's won lots of gold medals, but he's on the ADHD spectrum, and he was diagnosed at the age of 9. And swimming was something that helped him become more focused and disciplined. Simone Biles. Simone Biles, if you're watching the news, you also know that she's a great gymnast, and she also has ADHD. And she takes medication, and USA Gymnastics is aware of it, and they actually support her for it. Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, or Emma Watson, is also on the ADHD spectrum. The Hulk, I forget his actual name, but he has ADHD and dyslexia and depression in his childhood. And so he hated school because if you don't understand, you tend to make these people feel a certain way about themselves. But he's doing great right now. Jon Stewart, not Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah from South Africa. He has ADHD and depression, something that he struggles with, and he talks about it. This is Beyonce's sister, Solange, and she thought it was a joke. So when it comes to this type of stuff in the African American community, we don't take it seriously because we're doing that whole Jesus thing sometimes, and you're praying and you're thinking it's demon. Sometimes it's not demon. You just need to understand what is happening. You don't have to take medication. As a matter of fact, I'm a big advocate against medication because I think everything can be natural. If you understand what is going on, you can learn how to cater to help the individual around you. So she's been diagnosed twice with it, but I guess she's taking medication. Johnny Depp, you know him in Pirates of the Caribbean, or he was Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, Edward Scissorhands, and he was also the Mad Hatter in what's the movie the kids watch? I can't think of the name of the movie. You see him all the time. You love his movies. He has ADHD. He has a mood disorder, and he also struggles with substance use. Terry Bradshaw, he played for the Steelers. He was a quarterback. He talks about ADHD. He advocates for them. He is on the spectrum, and he is a National Football League Hall of Fame. So he is in there. will.i.am for Black Eyed Peas. He also has ADHD. Music is his therapy. Music is what helps him. So the beats and stuff that he's creating is because his brain works differently. Dave Pilkey. Those of you who've read Captain Underpants and the Dogman series, you know who Dave Pilkey is. He was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia as a kid. He was so disruptive in class that his teachers made him sit out in the hallway every day. When you read his bio on his website, it would tell you that his love for drawing and making up stories in the hallway when he was punished is what led to the series of Captain Underpants and Dogman.
Could I add on one more thing about Dave Pilkey?
Sure.
In like the back of in I think most of his books, or all of them, it says that one time, his teacher made him sit down in the hall, and she took the comic book and like ripped it up, and she was like, "You're never gonna make it far with this." And then the next line's like, "Luckily, Dave Pilkey was never a good listener."
That was a good joke. That one, I'll take that one.
No, that wasn't a
I
joke.
know
That's
it's
what
not
it
a
said in
joke,
the back.
but I'm saying like the way you let that one in, yeah, that was a good one. So these are some famous people that you all may know or may not know that do have ADHD. Michael Jordan also has ADHD. Basketball is something that helped him with it. Right now, he's not playing basketball. In his bio, it tells you that he's using it in other business ventures. Walt Disney is on the spectrum. Steve Jobs, Apple, they're on some of these spectrums. I can tell you some of the kids that I work with that I know are on these spectrum. They're super brilliant. They are smart. Their brainwave works differently. But because the natural person, or what I would call the normal person, does not understand, it's not they're not able to cope with it or understand it. They like to put a label on them and make them feel like there's something that they're not. To be honest with you, if Mr. Tony was here as a kid, they probably would diagnose Tony with ADHD because Tony don't sit still for jack. Tony's always moving and his brain waves are always doing stuff. Before you can finish asking the question, Tony's like 10, 15 steps ahead of you. So it's not a matter of a disease or an illness. It's a matter of how the brain looks at things and how it processes things. Science will tell you, depending on what website you're using, the human beings use only 3% of their brains. I think it's a dolphin that uses 10% with the echolocation, which would mean that those people on these spectrums are using sometimes a little bit more than that 3%. But because some of us are not fully using ours the way that we should or could, it makes it difficult for us to relate to them. So if you can't relate to them, it's easier for you to put a label on them and say there is something wrong with them than for you to try to find a way to understand them. Like you have Wolfgang Amadeus right there, or I think Mozart, one of them, or Beethoven. That's also on there. That's the guy from Maroon 5. I forget his name. He's also on the spectrum. Another one that you see kids with, it's autism. Autism is it's an interesting one, simply because no two people have the same symptoms. There are some people who are high functioning, and it's something that actually starts when the child is born. They tell you it's developmental condition. It has to do with the neurons in the brain. That's as much as science has come up with. It affects communication, social, and behavioral interaction. You have those kids who can't talk. They have to use a walkie. So they have these computers or tablets and they have these programs in it and they use it to talk, or they'll type the stuff in it and they will talk for them. You have those kids that sensory. So they're walking in the hallways and they have those noise canceling earphones on, because too much noise, it's too much stimulation for them and they don't know how to handle it. So they start acting out. To you, it looks like they're acting out, but they're trying to find a way to get their body to regulate, to get back to normal, because what is happening, they don't know how to deal with it. So some of those kids, they have adults, what is the word? Adult support. They have an adult support. So they have an adult with them in school, wherever they go, I did adult support once for a kid who was on the spectrum, and teachers will say that he doesn't talk, but I don't believe that he doesn't talk. So I don't use the talker with him. I will tell him stuff and I'll show him things on I'll use cards. So like his schedule, he has to have a routine. If you move out of the routine, you've messed him up. If anything is not on the routine that he does every day, you've messed him up. So every day lunch, he had the same thing, carrots and cucumbers. If it wasn't that, he wasn't eating it. We have to go the same route every day. If anything deviates small from the route, he's lost it. He doesn't know how to do it. So he has to follow a regimented schedule with everything that he's doing. Some days he's okay with music, some days he's not. So we have to sit in the hallway. And you never know what's happening with him when he comes in. When I took the talker away, I would give him a word. And then before you know it, he would say, Miss Rena, bathroom. We go to the bathroom. Miss Rena, or he will point, playground. And then after a while, when I realized he could say one word or the other, I gave him a words to say. Library, that means he needs a break. We would go to the library. Then they would say he wouldn't do work. I'm like, okay, let's switch it out. It took a while for us to understand. I can't put his schoolwork on a iPad because iPad is a play toy. So if I'm putting his schoolwork on an iPad and I put an iPad in front of him to do schoolwork on, he's not doing it because all he knows is iPad is what he plays games on. So I have to switch his work to something else that's not related to the iPad and tell him that, okay, I'm going to time you for 10 minutes, finish this work. For this kid, I have to use guided access on the thing to lock it because he is so computer smart, it's not funny. For him, I'm constantly doing research to try to stay on top of him. Just when I think I have him, he's ahead of me. So just because these kids are on the spectrum does not mean that they're dumb. Does not mean that there are some places they don't function in. They function in super great when it comes to technology, when it comes to puzzles and putting things together. They are awesome. It's just communicating, picking up social cues, interacting with people is foreign to them. So like you could say somebody is, they're not showing emotion, it's there, but it's just, it looks different for them. So those kids on the autism spectrum, these are some things that they're dealing with, if that makes sense. I hope I don't have any more questions with that. So you have that kid.
Someone has a question, and the question is, how will I know if someone is having ADHD?
If they're having ADHD?
Yeah, I don't know. Michael from Ghana.
So if someone has ADHD, you need to, are they easily distracted? Are they always daydreaming? Are they forgetting a lot? I mean, we all have some of these things. Sometimes we're easily distracted. Every now and then you find yourself daydreaming or you can't sit still. There are certain areas of your life that you talk a lot. But is this person doing it excessively where you find yourself constantly having to be on them and remind them for stuff? You have to also consider their age. So you can't expect somebody who's in first grade or second grade that you would not tell them, pick up after yourself. Have you gotten your homework done? Those are some developmental stuff there. So you need to remind them every so often about some things. But if you find that you're reminding yourself more than you should for that age, then you need to have that kid checked. You need to have that kid assessed. There are some people that do medication. A lot of kids are doing medication right now. And the teachers like medication because when the children are on the medication for that period of time, the child focuses and they're not all over the place. But the downside with medication is once they leave school, the medication wears off. When the medication wears off, it's a completely different child. Also, the FDA sometimes regulates medication. So if you see those things in the news where it says this medication is out, that medication is out, there's a shortage. If your child is on that medication and there's a shortage of that medication, that child is having a wild time because when they're off it, It does something else to their system. Then for you to put them back on it, they have to retrain themselves back again. For me, the reason why I don't care for medication is because when I was in nursing school, in pharmacology class, I learned that every medication has a side effect. Because every medication has a side effect, I don't see the point of me going to the hospital and saying, oh, I have a headache, and you give me medication for a headache. And I take the medication for a headache, but by the time the headache is gone, there's something else going on. That means I stay going to the hospital. I'm constantly putting money in your pocket. You just keep making me sick by the medication I take. So I will go to the hospital and find out what is wrong. But I will come home or I will call my mom and be like, hey, I know there's some herbs that the old folks used to use. Let me know and I'll do the herb stuff instead. Or I'll go online and start doing some research to find a herbal component or what I can do to make stuff work for me. Kids on ADHD, exercise is a great thing for them. Exercise is huge. As you can see, not necessarily exercise, sports. Sports is huge for them. They have to have some place for that excess energy to go. So I have those kids who are doing cross-country track. I have those kids who are doing, so every season they're in some type of sport. The more they do it, that energy is going someplace. They're able to learn how to control themselves and regulate that impulse and that hyperactivity part. So if that child that you think may or may not be on the spectrum, you may want to see about making sure that they're doing a whole lot more of exercise or sports. Put them in sports, whether it's soccer, whether it's track, whether it's I don't know, something that will get them stimulated, but they have to be constantly moving to do stuff. They have to be in that motion state so that when they fall down, they're tired. If they fall down when they're not tired because the brain wave is still moving, they have to find a way to calm themselves down. So you have those kids that running does that for them. Football, that contact does that for them. Swimming, the water does that for them. Olympics, gymnastics is a serious exercise. I have a 7-year-old in that. It's a lot of workout. When she come home, all she want to do is sleep. And so it takes a lot out of you. So that it's channeling and going someplace else. And that in itself, the body knows what it needs to do, but it needs your help. Like when the girl said the balanced diet, the body needs a balanced regimen. So you're eating, great. You're studying, great. But it needs something else too for it to know how to put it all together for it to do what it needs to do. You're drinking more soda and not bringing enough water. That's an issue I have. So I'm working on that myself with my water intake. You got to figure out what is going on in your system to make sure that you are doing the best for that body. The best advice 2 doctors gave me is when I'm sick, I just need to stop and rest. My body knows how to heal itself. If only I would give it time for it to heal itself. He said, when I come to the hospital, the medication they give me only numbs my body, numbs the pain. It doesn't do anything else. When it numbs the pain, it's giving the body time for it to heal itself. The minute I heard that and that click, when I go in, just let me know what's wrong. I don't want the medication. So for that kid, I would say maybe they're not getting enough, so do something else more. You can't be afraid to try things. So if you try something and it doesn't work, try something else. Eventually, you'll find that thing that child agrees with and that child understands, and that will be the thing that will bring things into focus for that child. Did I answer your question? I may have gone off tangent.
Yes, madam.
Thank you. So, So you have the thing with sensory, puzzles, putting stuff together. They tend to be by themselves. They don't socialize too much with people, and they're in their happy place. Sometimes they have these outbursts, but it has nothing to do with you. They're just trying to process things on their own. Then there's bipolar. Bipolar is like the weather we're having right now. Well, if you're in Charleston, in South Carolina, 1 minute is hot, 1 minute it's cold. And then you were thinking it's going to stay hot, but then it switches. That is what bipolar is. It's literally night and day. So you have your manic and your depressive stuff. You just have a combination of it. At any given point, they could be manic, where they the thoughts, the brain is just going like 10,000 miles per hour, and you can't stop it. Easily distracted, they turn to engage in reckless behavior. And then when they are on the other side, it's just all negative. Nothing positive is coming in. The crazy thing about not crazy. So for instance, I don't know if you know her, Judge Lynn Toller. She's on TV. If you know a little bit about her history, you know that she got the bipolar and the depression from the time that she was raised, but she came up in a time when America was going through that segregation stuff. And so Blacks were not allowed to integrate and do all kinds of stuff. And so she had to live in a specific neighborhood. And it was at a time also where, how do I say this? Let me just leave it there because I can't find the right way to say what I want to say. Her household, besides the era that she was born in, her household, her dad was he was what we would say is crazy. But it's not that he was crazy. It was more of his brain was on a different wavelength that the era was not ready for or equipped to take care of him. And so they put him in a nut house. So all those things that she was seeing when dad would react, or when dad would fight mom, or when things would be breaking and whatnot, it did something to her growing up. And so in order for her to cope, her brain did different things. And so she developed what you would call the night and day stuff. I don't want to go too much into this because I don't want to make this a science situation, but I just want you to know the people who have it and how they're functioning, and they're doing well. They are thriving despite the fact that they have these. Chris Brown, if you followed Chris Brown, there was a time he was in the news a lot for negative behavior, but that's because he's been diagnosed with it. And so right now he's on medication. He also has PTSD. I love this lady. She is a nut. But if you know a little bit about her history, you would know why she is bipolar. Ron Artest, I'm a huge Laker fan. If you know Ron Artest, you know Ron Artest when he was on the field.
Thank you.
When he was on the court, some of his behaviors were not appropriate. But at any given time, when that shift happened, and you never know when it's going to happen. But he is doing great right now. So they're succeeding, they're thriving. It's just a matter of knowing what to do when you're on the spectrum. Another big thing that is going on with the kids right now is gender dysphoria, which basically they don't know if they're girl or boy. And so I'm having kids coming into the office. They want to be this because they're reading this on social media, and this person is giving them this information, and they're saying this LGBTQ and all kinds of stuff. And so they're like confused, all because they're not able to become confident in themselves. So once again, the thoughts, emotions, and the action thing. You're thinking one thing. The minute you start thinking something and you don't use the facts for it, it automatically generates into an emotion thing. When you attach to that, then you're back into an action component. All right, if I'm a girl and I'm not comfortable being a girl, I'm gonna start wearing boy clothes. Okay, I wear boy clothes. Oh, it feels more comfortable. Man, women have been wearing boy clothes for a long time. But that don't mean that any woman wants to be a man. That's a different subject. I don't want to go into that. But I'm just saying, just to give you an example. But because it feels good and people responded to you a different way when you wore it, they begin to think that, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do then. I have a theory based on the kids that I have seen on the spectrum. And my theory is this: if the household is broken, as in there's a separation, or if mom is keeping the child from the dad, or dad is keeping the child from the mom, and there's a huge custody thing going on, and all the child hears is one thing negative about the parent, about the other parent, or constantly being compared to the other parent, the child begins to shift and begins to experiment. So I can tell you based on the kids that I have seen on the spectrum, especially the ones that say that they're bi, it depends on which parents they are talking to and they're not upset with at that time. So if they're not upset with this parent, if they're not upset with the male parent, then they are they turn to what do you call it? Be heterosexual. But if they're upset with that male parent, then all they want to do is be with the female partner, which is what you would call gay or lesbian. So it all depends, and then it shifts back and forth based on what is happening with the interaction. So if you have the child whose parent was on drugs, wasn't there, was in and out, and each time they came in and they left, there was a whole lot of things they had to fix with. Let me use a female as an example. They tend to not want to deal with that mom, but in the essence, they're still looking for a mom figure because that void is there. And because that void is there, they gravitate to other females. And then when they gravitate to other females, so if you have a female friend who shows you just a little bit of care or a little bit of love, you attach to it, you misinterpret, and then you begin to add some relationship, like intimate stuff to it that does not need to be, and then that begins to make things complicated for you. So for me, my theory based on what I have seen is that it has to do with what's going on with that child in their family and in their environment. The things that you do to keep your body healthy, the lady told me earlier, is the same thing when it comes to mental health. What do you need to do to take care of your thoughts? What do you need to do to take care of your emotions and your actions? There's a book I use for the kids at the elementary school. And so it's right here. I wanted to put this in there. I don't even know if you can see it. But it tells you playing outside, doing a puzzle, play dress up, smile a lot, draw, painting, riding a bike. These are things that we did when we were growing up, when we were coming up. You were outside, you were playing. And when the light was on, you knew you had to come inside. If you were me back home, I was somewhere in the backyard with the, what do you call the thing from the palm nuts fruits? The one that they use for the oil? The nuts, right?
Yeah, the nuts.
Yeah, so I was digging in the dirt and I was making my own Owari game and I was playing by myself up there, or I was climbing trees. That was exercise. I was interacting with my cousins. We were playing games. We were playing dress up. You were doing stuff. When you're doing those type of things, your brain is actually helping you build up the tools for you to know how to interact and also problem solve, which is the issue the kids are having right now because they don't know how to problem solve. Also, when you give them the devices in their home, the device begins to entertain them. And so there's no point in their brain doing something extra. Like I heard Uncle Tony say the other day that I want them to have the computer. I want them to be able to take it apart and try to put it back together. That is what the brain needs. The brain does not need you to be behind Minecraft 10 hours a day. It does not need you to be behind Roblox 20 hours a day. If anything, it needs you to be the one to create something else. The people that create these things, the people that create Facebook, Instagram, those things that you are on there, those social media in Silicon Valley in California, if you read and you listen to research coming out of the creators, they don't allow their children to engage in the things that they created. So I'm thinking psychologically, why would you create something but you don't allow your children to engage it? What are the dangers of it? There was a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. It tells you that when you're on these things, the algorithm, now I'm talking computer language, the algorithm tells you that.
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
The algorithm that is embedded in the program makes you want to stay on longer. So the fact that each time you hear your phone ding or the light come on, you want to go look at it, it was done on purpose to distract you from you to go and do it. So in essence, you created the computer, but now you created it in a way where it will control other people, but you're not telling them that. Why? And so you are allowing somebody else to take that from you. And then you go read the post that somebody put. That was not even a true post. They have photoshopped the stuff. And then when you look at it, you think it's the best thing. And you're trying to make yourself look like something that somebody used computer to create. And because you're not getting the same results, you start thinking you are no good. You're not comfortable in your skin. You would rather be a lighter skin texture. You would rather be with a different family. Why can't you have the newest clothes? And why doesn't your clothes fit the way that it fits on the models and stuff? What is wrong with me? I am not beautiful. My life sucks. It would be better for everyone if I'm not here anymore. And then you start cutting yourself. You start taking things you shouldn't be taking. You end up doing some things that you shouldn't be doing. And then before you know it, some of them end up dying. It's a very vulnerable population. Some of them also end up in trafficking. For me, I tell all my kids, Charleston, we are right by the harbor. And trafficking is huge over here. If you go in Walmart, you see on the walls, the kids are missing. You see in the news, you can't find this kid. This kid is missing. You can't find that kid. Why? Because it started in the thoughts. They started thinking something about themselves. They saw something else in the news about them, something else that didn't fit with what they thought of themselves. They thought it would be easier if they weren't here. So they went outside, somebody lured them, and then now you can't find them. And so they're gone. But if you can shut all that stuff out, it's a reason why right now I'm telling all my kids, don't give any of if you're on my caseload, you can't have a cell phone. If you have a kid, if I have a kid on my caseload and they have a cell phone, the parent is going to take responsibility for what happens, especially if you're in middle and elementary school. Why? Because the things that you're being exposed to is hurting you so much more than it's helping you. The interaction with your friends, some of them, you have to find a way. I would touch on boundaries, how to protect yourself, the rules and limits that you need to set for yourself, for you to know that, okay, no, I'm not going to do this. And this is not okay. And you have to be confident and okay with the fact that maybe you may lose some friends because you're not going to do this. But at the end of the day, does it help you? Is it better for you if you do this? Or would it be the cool thing to do if you go along with the crowd? And what will be the consequences of it? If you're okay with the consequences, by all means, go ahead and do this. All this stems from once again, the thoughts, the mental health component, and what it is that you want to do where you stand. So I'm not saying don't play video games. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't watch movies. I watch a lot of movies, actually, and I see a lot happening with the movies. I was talking to my daughter about Frozen. Have you all seen Frozen 1 and 2?
Yes.
Yeah, nay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What is
Yes.
the issue with Frozen? Well, if I could ask you to give me an emotion that was going on in Frozen, what would be the big emotion that was happening in the movie Frozen?
Loneliness.
Loneliness.
Yeah,
Unsatisfaction.
loneliness
Okay,
and
anything else?
sadness and madness.
Okay, so there was anger, there was some sadness. What else?
Love.
Love. So she was looking for love.
Fear.
Thank you. I was hoping somebody would say it. The big issue going on in Frozen was fear, besides all those other stuff. Sometimes it looks like anger. There is something we call an angry iceberg. I will try to touch on it when I do communication. All everyone sees is the big explosion, but underneath that explosion, there are other things going on that's so much bigger than what they're actually seeing. But they're not taking time to go under to find out what is there that is causing this explosion. Instead, all we want to do is to attack what we see at the top and try to make you fix that. If you remember Frozen 2, what was the biggest problem in Frozen 2?
That they made a sequel.
No, no.
Elsa kept hearing noises and everyone kept thinking she was lying.
Okay. What else?
There wasn't much trust.
There wasn't much trust. Anything else?
They explored like a forest, a mythical one, and there were magical beings.
Okay. So if you can remember in Frozen 2, Elsa and Anna's grandfather did something to the people that were in the forest, to the forest people. He killed one of their leaders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that he killed one of their leaders, it started that whole fog thing that covered the people for some years. And it triggered a whole effect where because he killed the people, one, the people in there were trapped. They couldn't get out. Two, his son had to become king at a young age. Three, nature decides to give one of his own ancestry, which would be his grandchildren, the very thing that he didn't understand and he wanted to abolish, he wanted to destroy. So one of his children becomes one of the nature people, but he was actually trying to wipe out the nature people, which was what Frozen 2 was trying to tell you. And in the process of him killing that first person, the leader, the fog came in, his son becomes king. Elsa and Anna are born. She has these powers. They don't understand where it comes from or why she has these powers. The son decides to travel to find out why she has them. He ends up dying. Fear is in now. Fear has always been in because he was afraid and didn't understand them. He tried to kill them. Now Anna is isolating Elsa. Elsa is trying to isolate herself because she's afraid that she's going to kill her sister or people in their family. In the process, what ends up happening? She freezes the whole nation. In the process, almost killing her sister. So you see how one person's action has triggered a whole downward spiral that is going to impact a nation?
Yeah, like the butterfly effect.
Thank you. So if you're growing up and all you're hearing is, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you never amount up to anything, You're just like your dad. You're just like your mom. Why do you do this like this parent? Why do you do that like that parent? Oh my God, you're dumb. Oh my God, you're not beautiful. Or you're stupid. Why can't you ever get anything right? The more you hear that, the longer you hear that, you begin to believe that you are that. You begin to take that on that you are this. My mother is in her 60s. I think she's in her 60s. 61. She says when she was growing up, all she heard was, you're not smart like your siblings. You're not smart like your siblings. So all she knows is she's not smart like her siblings. But because they've said she's not smart like her siblings, she wants to make sure that her kids are educated and smarter than her. I'm gonna tell you, my mom is one of the smartest people I know. But because this is what she has been heard for the longest time, she has believed it. She has taken it on. So even if there is something that she should try or she should go ahead and do, she's afraid to try it. She's afraid to do it because all her parents have told her, her aunties, her extended family, whomever have said is that she's not smart. Meanwhile, she's been an educator in the Ghana system for a long time. She just retired a year ago. She's been a class 2 teacher. She's been a class 5, class 6 teacher. She's been a headmistress. She has been teaching JHS. Is it JSS? Let's call it JSS. She's been teaching Ghana language. She's a chaplain. She's been leading worship. She's been boys and girls something club she says her school has, where she has to take care of the youth.
Boys and Girls Club. Yeah.
She was a netball coach for her school district, where they have to take her out. But this whole time, so can you imagine if they had told her that she was smart, what she would do? All because she heard something, she attached an emotion to it, and then she started acting a certain way because of what she heard. This is all that mental health is about. Like the computer and the phone, you take the information in. You become what you hear. You become what you see. You become what you eat. You become the 5 senses. You become what you touch, taste, and smell. So if you, at any given point, something is in your vicinity that you do not disagree with, you need to push it away. You need to take it to the side. Miss Letitia, Mr. Tony, and the guy with the jokes, I can't remember your name.
Ariane.
Ariane. That is what I put together for today. I didn't want to overwhelm the brain senses, but I also wanted them to be aware of what is happening well, I think they do know what is happening. They just haven't got the vocabulary for it, or know that it's okay for them to even ask questions. Because I'm pretty sure they know kids in their school who are on some of these spectrums, and that they are interacting with them and they don't know that they're interacting with them. I did put a little quiz based on this presentation in the chat, in the Google Classroom. I hope I did it right.
Yes, you did. So Ms. Rena put an assignment on there for you guys. So visit Google Classroom. If you are not there, let me know and I'll add you, but everybody should be on there. So if we can submit it before Friday, so she can review them, and then we can talk about it next class. She's gonna be with us from now till February. So let's take advantage of this. Remember, some of you had concern about school and time management and how you deal with pressure in school, all those stuff. Now that some of you are in high school, middle school, it doesn't get better, okay? Like, you remember what she said. The thing is, when you know something, you find different ways to what? Address them. And so we want you guys to be prepared, or get ready, or just have a knowledge on these situations so that should you encounter any of these stuff, you have an idea of what to do to get to address it or to cope with them. Okay. It doesn't get like your schedule will keep on getting crazier. College will be more wild, you know, and then when you finish college and you get a job and all those stuff, it gets, I don't want to scare you guys, but it gets more and more demanding. Okay. And so we want to talk about all these stuff and help you guys to manage your time, your emotions, things that is not, ask the right questions, things that are not making sense, all those stuff. So anyone want to help summarize what we have talked about today? Anyone? It can be 2 or 3 people. You can add your 2 cents, what you got from today's session.
We talked about
Mental
mental
health.
health.
Guys, please, I know it's virtual. Let's raise your hands or something so we can we want Miss Rena to know she didn't waste her time with us today, and we want her back next week, right? So share with us. Okay, Rama first.
We talked about mental health.
What is it about mental health? You have to add more meat to your statements.
Talked about the our emotions, how they trigger our feelings and our actions.
Okay, thank you. Ariane, anything you want to add to it?
Nope. I just wanted to say mental health.
No, there is something you learned today because we want. Okay, hey, Ethan.
I learned like the cycle of mental health,
What are some of the cycles?
like how you feel sad and then like other people keep making you sad and stuff.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from Ghana want to add what we've talked about today? There's no right or wrong. Say today I learned this, or I found out about this, something. Just, we want to make sure. Okay, Julie, your turn. Team Ghana, Francine and Ejura, think about it. We'll be coming to you. Fatima, don't hide your face. I see you.
We learned different mental health diagnoses, how they affect different people in different ways, and how to identify them in ourselves and others.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm Janet.
We learned about the levels and different types of people on the spectrum and different types of spectrum.
Thank you. Anyone from Ejura, Frante, Martin, what do you have to say? What did you get from today's session? Fatima.
Mental health.
Yeah, what is it about mental health that you learned today?
Yes, madam.
Alex? Okay, let me mute that because it's making noise. Okay, guys.
I think Fatima can go ahead.
Yeah, Fatima. Fatima, we see you. You can't hide though. Fatima, you Kasa. Anyone, whoever is sitting next to Fatima, you can also talk. What did we learn or talk about? Michael. Michael, any comments?
My name is Betsonali.
Uh-huh.
My name is Betsonali.
Uh-huh. I speak.
Beto.
Beto, okay.
And I learned the illness of mental health. Some of them are the feeling and the behavior.
Okay. And then what? Then you have to add more. Somebody want to help him? Okay, so I will post the video on our Google Classroom So Team Ghana, I know
My
sometimes.
name is Alexander Manyo.
Okay, Alexander. Yes.
Examples of the ADHD. The
Uh-huh.
person can sit still, excessive talking, and forgetfulness,
Okay.
and easy distracted.
Okay, thank you. Miss Rena, was he right?
Yes, he was
Okay,
actually
good.
on it. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
he was on it, on that ADHD component.
Okay, thank you. So I'll post the video on our Google Classroom. Good job. Clap for yourself. Everybody did that amazing. I'm happy you guys were
Yippee!
paying attention. That makes me happy.
I mean, it was a good session, and as we have said, a good foundation for more to come. Right? It's a good for more to come, because some of these things we know it, but when they give examples, that is when it becomes real. Like right now, we don't say that mental health is for them. That we don't say that anymore. So I'm happy that as we go forward, and they have so many questions, they're just sizing you out. They have so many questions. They are just
My name
sizing
is Philbert.
3, week 4. That is when all the questions will be start coming up. When you start going to the communication and maybe the time management or what, everything.
So I would say if there's a subject or a question that you have that I may or may not touch on, you can, I guess they can send it to you and you can let me know, and I will see how to incorporate it into the communication portion next week.
Thank you. So Rama, Naima, Amira, Ethan, Janet, Michael and your team, Ariane, Francine, Martin, Frederick, everyone, Julie, you heard what she said. If there is something that you want her to help talk about, to break it down more, or you want us to discuss as a group, you can text, share, and then we can go from there, okay? So that we don't just, remember, I told you guys, how you respond to us will help us to give you the best, right? So Fatima, Michael, Sebibi and making sense, Mumbusa. Am I making sense? Because don't let anybody shove anything in your throat or your face. You got to express yourself. Naima, you can talk.
Well, before Naima says something, before I forget, so Ghana people, real quick, I did do some research on Ghana, and Ghana does have mental health. It's just that they don't talk about it, because in Ghana, everything is like under the rug type of situation, or it's like they see you, but you don't mention it. Or so for instance, stress is huge because of employment right now in the Ghana system. And so if the person doesn't have a job, money's not coming in, bills are not getting paid, food becomes an issue, clothing becomes an issue. All that adds to your stress level, and it can put you in a state of depression, especially if you are a parent and you're not able to provide for your family. The World Health Organization did its own research on Ghana. Depression is a big thing, but they don't talk about it. Anxiety, everyone has anxiety. Everybody has anxiety. It comes in different shapes or form depending on what you're doing. It's a matter of understanding what to do with it when it comes up, or recognizing it when it comes up. So the stuff is happening in Ghana. So for instance, my mom and my 7-year-old are having a discussion, and my 7-year-old goes, "Grandma, this is nonsense." My mom gets upset. She's thinking she's been disrespected. But my 7-year-old is saying, "This makes no sense to me." She did not disrespect her. She does not understand what she's saying. There's a difference in the language between the UK, the Queen's English, and the American English. The culture in Ghana brings the kids up to be timid, but the kids are competing with kids in other Western countries. So if we can start giving them the tools to be better equipped with communication and know how to stand for themselves and speak to people, they would do so much better. I have families from Africa that come to the school. The kids get in trouble because they don't know that it's different here. I got in trouble when I first started school here in New Jersey. Because of the trouble I got into, because of the difference in the culture, I decided not to mess with people and not to get into any type of friendship early on in 9th grade when I started school, because that made no sense, because there was a difference right there. So if Ghana can begin to better prepare its children when they're interacting with the ones here, it will make a whole world of a difference. I know when I came in, the word that was used for me from my father, my stepmom, the people they interacted with was timid. That in itself, that's something to disappear. So there's a lot going on that has to be fixed on that side.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna have one of these sessions where you have a chat with the teachers. So we have some teachers that we also hang out with, that we train on a monthly basis. So we will talk about that. So because they are also the key or the gateway to this kid. So we also try to train them and engage them and have these conversations with them so that they are aware of what is going on, so they can propel or empower the student that they have. So that is a topic on its own. Naima, you want to say anything before we end our session today?
Yeah. So I was looking at my notes and I realized I don't really know, I don't have like the computer memory and the brain memory like explained. It just, I didn't really get how the brain memory and the computer memory are like alike. And
your brain is like the computer. The computer takes information in, but with the computer, you put the information in the computer with what you save on your desktop, what you save on your computer memory. But with your brain, it does it automatically, whether you want it to or not. It's going to do it by the things that you see, the things that you hear, the things that you touch, the things you smell, and the things that you taste. It's always recording. Unlike the computer, your brain has a vast memory side that it does not overload, whereas the computer will overload. However, when the computer crashes, your brain can also crash. Your brain crashes when you're not taking care of your mental health. Is that simpler enough for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So the brain can like gets information by like seeing it and then it stores into the. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. So any question you have, write them down. Next week, she'll be here with us, and then I will see you guys face to face to USA, so I can watch you well. So
It's Letitia.
yes, Rahma.
I'm not a part of the Google Classroom.
Talk to your dad. He's the cause of all these problems. Like now. Nah, I will let Naima help you, okay? Or Amira. Okay. Okay.
Next week we can all get Chick-fil-A.
Oh my goodness. Today I save money. Thank you, God.
Okay, that's what you want, Juliana. We'll keep that in mind next time.
Yes. You know, you can
even show up. Oh, it showed there last week. Sorry.
always just order it and send it to my house.
Oh, good luck on that. Anyway, guys, what do we say to Ms. Rina for today? Thank you so much.
Yeah, before we leave, I think also there's an assignment on this in the Google Classroom.
Yes.
So maybe just sending a reminder that all students should check it up and complete it.
Okay, thank you, Prof. We will I will send the link also. I'll send the link. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hasta la vista. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
Juliana, just look at it. Just